Hello and welcome to Stories from the View, a podcast from the Pleasant View Senior Center in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. On this podcast, we invite East Longmeadow residents to tell us stories about their lives and events. And today's guest is Roland Bolduc. He is King Lion at the Lions Club that serves East Longmeadow and the surrounding communities. And sitting in, we also have Chris Buffington, who happens to be his sister-in-law, who is also the nurse here at the Pleasant View Senior Center. So should be a fun time. Thanks for listening to us. And here is your host, Mary Jenowyn Kaplan.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning, Roland. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me.
I am so anxious to hear your story, which I could almost say is stories, because you got a few things going on that are sort of interesting.
I've been busy.
You've been busy. And you were introduced as King Lion, which is a very auspicious position, says someone who has no idea what that means. But I was drawn to your bio that says what brought you to the Lions group was attendance at a beer dinner. So it is beer that drew you to the Lions. And that just, tell us your story. How did this happen?
They also call it the Harvest Dinner.
Oh, okay.
And they have it every fall. And we call it a beer dinner. They bring in a brewery, and the person who owns the brewery might show up, and they match beer to each meal. And it was such a great time with so many great people. It was just friendly, and they invite you in, and everybody was so comfortable to talk to. And we started looking into it. And actually, my wife and my sister-in-law, Chris, were looking into it. And I said, you know what? You guys join, I'll join with you.
That is great. Now, just so that we don't lead people astray, can you tell us the other things that the Lions do? It isn't just about the Harvest Dinner.
It's not just about beer. It's not just about food. The Lions are a nonprofit organization, service-based for their communities, ours being East Longmeadow and all the surrounding communities. And we've also been coined the Knights of the Blind by Helen Keller back in the early 1900s. She challenged the Lions and to be the Knights of the Blind and kind of watch out for them, try to help them out. And they've been doing it ever since. We do a picnic for the blind here at the Senior Center in East Longmeadow. That usually happens in August or September, whenever the planning happens. We do the East Longmeadow Fishing Derby.
Coming up.
Coming up for sure. By the time this airs, it will have happened because it's going to happen tomorrow morning. And we have 168 children signed up. We can't wait. It's going to be phenomenal. And it's just awesome doing something like that for the community and seeing it all evolve. And yesterday we were dumping in 400 fish. 100 from the state and 300 from the federal, getting fish into the pond. And we have another 350 going in today that we purchased, a little bit larger. We want some larger fish that are going to be in the pond. And to see the kids bring fish up and so excited, so happy to be bringing that fish up. And the moms are usually like, yeah, get it away. And you always ask when you're done weighing and measuring it, do you want it back? No.
So then it goes back into the pond, or?
No, you can't. The trout are very fragile, so we don't put them back in the pond. We do keep a cooler on site, and a lot of people like to bring the fish home, freeze them, eat them. They are delicious, delicious. But we also do a cornhole tournament that this year is scheduled to be October 5th. And we're going to work with brew practitioners, see if they want us another time. And I'm sure they will. They're great people, great people. And we also do the lighting of the Christmas tree.
Oh, everyone sees the Christmas tree on the Rotary.
Everyone does. And it makes me hesitate when I talk about it because we need a new tree.
Oh.
Everybody gets shocked about that. When next time you're driving by the East Longmeadow tree, or if you're listening and driving by it right now, take a look at the tree. You can see through it.
Oh,
you'll see right through that tree. 50, yeah, you'll see the church.
It's
through the
lived a
tree.
long life. Maybe
It
it's
has.
time to.
Word is it was planted about 50 years ago. And a few other trees were also planted. They didn't make the cut. This one was the one that made the cut, our town Christmas tree. And the Lions have been lighting it. From what I understand, there's pictures as far back as 1958.
Wow.
So there's always been a tree there. But this one was planted in mid-70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's run its course. It's done its job. We're proud of it. If we have to, we'll use it one more year. But we are truly looking to get another tree. And we watched another town. They got an 8-foot tree. We don't want to go that route. We can't wait 50 years to have this type of a celebration that we have every year. So we're going to look into transplanting another tree in the area. And anybody listening, that you have connections, let me know.
To get a tree.
Yeah,
so-
you can actually move a tree.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's actually called a spade truck. I may know something about trucks.
Trucks a
Just-
little bit. Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
touch. And this thing, a spade truck, you bring it to any tree, and these spades go in the ground around the ball of the roots and pick the tree up and lays it down over the front of the truck or throughout the length of the vehicle. Haul it to where you're going, and you're supposed to dig the hole prior. Haul it to where you're going and put the tree in. Boom, you got a tree. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. But the new tree wouldn't be as large as,
No, it's hard to find a 50-footer.
yeah, I would
So,
think,
we would be tickled pink, 25 to 30 feet.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Tickled pink. So, you never knew.
I'm
huh?
speechless.
You never knew.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah,
know where we
never
could
would've
find that,
thought,
but-
yeah.
The word's out.
There was
Right,
a suggestion, and I think it would be a little rough. If we were to chop down the tree, put a pole with lights on it, people would get the clue that we get the idea, not the clue, get the idea that we need sponsorship for another tree. And
So
I
you're
would say
kind of going
that's a
for the
little
performance
harsh.
art.
It's a
Yeah.
little harsh.
Yeah.
I think we
Sounds
should
like
try
a
to
Festivus
raise
tree, yeah.
funds
Yeah.
prior. Yeah, Festivus for the rest of us. But our tree is, we love that tree. We love the lights on the tree. This past, it was the end of November, beginning of December, when we lit the tree on a Friday night. We have a lighted truck parade that escorts Santa down to the tree, and there had to be 500 people around that tree easily.
And I believe the recreation department sponsored reindeer games for the kids.
Yeah.
So that just sounds like too much fun. And hot chocolate and
There was hot
Cookies.
chocolate and cookies, and it kicks off a whole holiday weekend that the Lions Club have been working hard with all the surrounding businesses. The Graham Depot. I could go on and on and on with all the names of all the companies that are phenomenal, that just do the
now
right thing and
tell
help
us
us
a
out.
little bit about that, though, because it's a thing. And it's new to East Longmeadow, a mere 2 or 3 years
Exactly.
old. And we're an old town with many traditions, so many people maybe haven't figured this one out yet.
And having a new tradition like this is eye-opening to what other towns do. And we saw another town that was having a large 4th of July weekend. We do it. They do it. And then I heard of a lighted truck parade somewhere else in the country, and I went, that's pretty cool. Let's try that. And it evolved into the whole weekend where the Norcross House will be open and doing crafts. There's going to be something at the Graham Depot. They did Whoville a couple
that's
years
right.
ago. That was awesome. And just the next day on Saturday when you drive by and the Grinch is walking around and all the Whovilles are walking around. It was just, what they do is phenomenal. They really get into the spirit. And all local surrounding businesses also do things. Don't know what we're going to do this year. One year there was like a poker run, they called it, where they went around to the different businesses restaurants, and you go in there, you scan a QR code with your phone, and it puts you in at that location. And the people who had the most locations had the most chances of winning prizes.
Nice.
So you visit all your different local East Village Tavern, 99 Restaurant, Center Square Grill, Pizza Shop, Fazio's. You visit all the local fantastic restaurants that we have and scan that code, and you might win a $200 gift certificate at the Rockies, or something in town, something that's fun.
And you get to visit all of those wonderful locations in a short period of time.
And a lot of the watering holes, let's just call it, had a special drink for that evening. So it
Truly
just
festive.
added to it. It's a lot of fun.
We look forward to seeing what you folks dream up for the coming holiday season. Perhaps we'll have a follow-up to promote that excitement for that.
We have some very creative people within the East Long Meadow Lions Club. We can always use more. We're actually, I heard we used to have numbers of about 200 members.
Wow.
We're actually in the 30s now. So think about how social media has played such a role in people being in their community that way. We would like more people in the community, face-to-face, part of the Lions Club, volunteering, and like I said, seeing kids' faces light up, or helping the blind in any which way that we possibly can, getting somebody a pair of eyeglasses with Dr. Basile in the center of town. It's just things that we do as the Lions Club.
So it is a wonderful opportunity, perhaps for someone who's newer in town, to become involved, meet some wonderful people, perhaps over food and beverage, and or for a retired person who suddenly has a little bit more time, they could also hop right in and become a lion. So I'm just going to say, what did you have to do to become King Lion? Was there some sort of initiation or challenge?
The King Lion, you have to run through a few hoops. You got to jump over fire. No.
Okay.
No fire, no hoops. They usually nominate a new president of the Lions Club.
King is equivalent to
Yes,
president.
I'm
Got
the
it.
president of the East Long Meadow Lions. And I've been president since 2021. And it's, anybody else would like to step up, more than welcome. I don't mind doing it. And they're like, okay, keep doing it. So fine by me. I'm enjoying it. And look at me, I'm in front of you, meeting great people here in the
Well, I can attest
Council of
definitely
Aging.
the reason why he's been King Lion for the past 3 years or so is that he's a huge participant in the Lions Club. He actually, before COVID, 2018, we worked on a float for the 4th of July parade.
Forgot about that.
All the blood, sweat, and tears he put into it, along with my sister, his wife, Charlene, and a few other members. So he actually dressed up one year as a lion.
We have a costume.
We have a costume.
And you didn't wear it today.
Yeah.
Well, because it's a
No,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't hear me through the helmet of this thing.
Yeah,
It might show up at the fishing derby.
it might show up at the fishing
It
derby.
might show up. The lion might show up at the fishing
there.
derby. It won't scare the kids. The
No,
lion's friendly.
It's a friendly lion.
Friendly lion.
And it's such an important part of leadership is to participate
Yeah.
and lead and demonstrate and engage others. They want to join you. That's just, it's just darn cool.
Yeah.
Now, the word trucks was mentioned. So tell us about when you became involved in trucks. Maybe this is when Roland tells us about his childhood playing with small trucks. I don't know.
I can't even remember that far back. I was born into the trucking industry.
And where were you born? Let's hear.
Hartford, Connecticut.
Not too far.
Sisson Avenue. And what we called Fort Bolduc, a 3-family home. Fort Bolduc. My sister would live on the 2nd floor, brother up on the 3rd floor. And speaking of siblings, we just had sibling day, yesterday? A couple days ago? I'm the last of 7.
Oh,
So big
so
family.
you're tough.
Big family.
Because the baby,
Spoiled. I mean,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, not spoiled. Mom's favorite.
of course.
The baby.
So, yeah, the youngest. So, yeah, I was born into the trucking industry. My dad owned K's Trucking and American Rigging and Aero Crane. My brothers and sisters own it now down in South Windsor, Connecticut.
Nice.
And I have one sister and 2 brothers that are still involved in the crane operation. And another sister retired, 2 sisters retired. They're in the medical field. Another sister just retired as well, also in the medical field. So a busy family. Mm-hmm. Busy family.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I was born and raised in the trucking industry. I would leave high school and ride my bike from Hartford to East Hartford just to work, just to, like, let's get some stuff done here. And I loved being around the trucks, and I would wash them when I was 12 years old. So it
And
was,
they're big.
oh, yeah.
But you're pretty tall. Maybe you were a tall 12-year-old.
Yeah, I was. I was. So I even, in freshman year in high school, this is one of my biggest regrets. Freshman year in high school, I had a starting position on the varsity team for football. I was taller.
Really?
I
Yeah.
was bigger. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks before season started, I said, this isn't really for me. I want to go work. Kick myself to this day.
It's kind of a life lesson for young people.
Yeah.
You got to do stuff when you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a lot more years to work.
Yeah. We could have had a lot of fun in football and
And a
could have
freshman
worked
varsity,
afterwards.
come
The
on.
company would be there later. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Let's go make some money. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah,
And with what I know now, they send me back a few years.
absolutely.
But yeah, I worked there for quite a while. Then I went, I just thought of wanting something bigger. I was working for a mom and pop trucking operation, which is still there, very diversified, doing a great job. They're awesome. The crane company is huge, Aero Crane, with multi-million-dollar cranes.
And
that
your
can-
parents were the first owners, right?
My dad bought K's Trucking from Bob K and Frank, I think it was Fred K or Frank K.
So it's second generation.
So he kept
now.
the name, but he was the first one in our family to own the company.
So it's second generation family
Yep,
owned
yep.
business now.
And grew it up to what it is now.
And so where did you branch out from?
I went from there, I went over to Monarch Food Service, which is now U.S. Food Service. And I was delivering food in Harlem and the Bronx and Manhattan. And I would go all the way down to Day Street and deliver to F.W. Woolworths. And this was in the 80s. Woolworths was still around in the 80s. So I would go all the way down there to Woolworths, make a delivery, and go another block further just to go by the World Trade Center. Just to see it, go by it. Every time I delivered there, I did that little extra loop just to go by it. But driving a tractor trailer in Harlem, the Bronx, Lower Manhattan, Upper Manhattan was amazing. I learned a lot. Learned a lot. Every day I learned. Every day I'm
and
still
there's-
learning.
Yeah, interesting traffic patterns. And you had a large vehicle to maneuver through them.
Yeah. Patience played into it.
And when did are you still delivering food in places?
No, in 1993, I went to this little company. Not many people have heard of it. It's called Federal Express.
Oh,
And now I work
really?
for the part that they changed the name to FedEx.
Ah,
So that was 1993. And I had a lot of friends working there. But the way I got in there was I was working for them 5 years prior to getting employed by them. While working for my dad's company, I was also the disc jockey in the nightclubs in Hartford. So I would work
Interesting.
there, get out, go to bed, wake up, go move furniture,
oh,
go move safes. At one point, we installed all of the automatic tellers in the state of Connecticut when they first started coming out.
oh.
I think it was
A
about
little part of
350
history.
of them. Yeah. So we were doing that. So yeah, I would DJ at night and move things during the day. You know, when you're burning the candle at both ends. I'm still here, so I was doing something right.
And what sort of music as a DJ did you?
I was playing
You have a
dance music in
specialty?
the 80s at Lorienne's and Le Jardin and Club Car and all these nightclubs down in Hartford. Oh, it was such a good time. And that's where I met Chris, my sister-in-law,
In a bar.
in a bar. In the
You
DJ
heard it
booth.
here first.
Yeah,
in
we're
the
gonna edit
DJ
that.
booth.
In the DJ booth. And yeah, that's when she pointed out her sister to me as Olivia Newton-John, the one that looks like her. And I said, yeah, she does. And that's history. We've been married 38 years this August.
That's where it all began.
So
So fun.
I was DJing, and then when I went to Monarch Food Service, I bought my own sound system, and I was the wedding DJ. Not the wedding singer, I was the wedding DJ. I don't sing, I announce. And I was actually DJing FedEx Christmas parties. And I knew...
Oh, that must have been fun for
Oh, it's always a
you
good
and them. And
Always a good time. So I knew a lot of people that worked at FedEx. Matter of fact, I remember talking to my best man at my wedding, and I've known him since I was 16 years old, and talked him into, getting a job at FedEx. And he's still there to this day. He has 5 more years seniority than I do. And I even trained him how to drive tractor trailer, and he's in my division where I am. So he's number 1 in seniority where I am right now, and I'm number 2. So I've been there 30 years. He's been there 35.
you got some good history.
So
But
yeah,
you're the trainer,
Yeah.
and you've trained a lot of people through FedEx.
trained a lot of drivers.
Yeah.
That also means you're patient.
Yeah,
Or you have nerves of steel. I'm not sure which.
better be patient.
And you got to talk about your rodeos.
So, yeah, you've taken it to another level. Tell us.
When you
You
like
don't get enough
trucks,
of it during the day. You got to do more. Tell us.
and that's what some people say. Don't you see enough of trucks during your normal work hours? And it's like, you know what? It's fun driving in professional truck driving championships. And
It's a whole nother group of people for you to connect with.
yes, throughout the entire country. And matter of fact, when we get together at the Nationals, we call it the National Truck Driving Championships Family Reunion. Because it's like family every time you get together. But it started out in 1990, oh boy, started in the early 80s when I was working for Monarch Food Service. The dispatcher said, how would you like to do this truck driving championships thing? Called a truck rodeo. And I said, you know what? I'd love to do that. I read into it, and I was the only income for a wife, 2 kids, 2 dogs, 2 cars. And it's like, who's going to pay the entry fee of $95? He goes, you are. So I guess I'm going to keep working. So you want me to represent the company? I'll just keep working. And so I stayed working. I never did it. 1995 rolled around, 96. I got asked in 95, in the fall of 95, and I competed for the first time ever in 1996. Didn't know what I was stepping into. And there were
No?
10 drivers
National.
in my class. Well,
Oh, what, this was a
that was
regional?
just states.
Okay.
State of Connecticut. There were 10 people in my class. See, right now there's 9 different classes. At the time there were 8. We've added step van since then, but there were 8 classes: straight truck, 3-axle, which is a pup trailer and a tractor, 4-axle, which is that small tractor with a 53-foot trailer, 5-axle, which is the 53-foot trailer with a dual axle tractor, 5-axle tanker, which is a tanker, gasoline, milk, whatever you'd like to imagine is that tanker, flatbed, 5-axle flatbed, 5-axle sleeper unit, where the tractor has the bed in the back with a 53-foot trailer. That's the longest. And then twin trailers, where there's 2 trailers hooked together with that smaller tractor on the front.
And which of these many classes is your class? Do you specialize in one of them? Or?
I truly enjoy the sleeper class, that larger tractor with the large trailer. I really enjoyed that. Early on, I was in that smaller pup trailer with the smaller tractor. But that's a very high-scoring class because it's almost like driving a sports car out there compared to everything else because it's so much smaller and you can see things better. So I stuck with that for the longest time until I won the nationals in it. And it took me 10 trips to the nationals before I won it in that class.
But you did it.
And I had finally won the nationals in 2012.
Well, you started with states first,
Yeah.
then you went to the nationals.
So tell me a little bit about the first time. I mean, you got your little shirt on and you're all ready. It's kind of like the first day of school or whatever.
At FedEx, we used to wear a shirt that had epaulets.
Oh.
We used to have epaulets, and you look like a pilot. So, it had the stripes on them. So however many years you had, you'd get more stripes. So I went to this competition wearing my FedEx dress shirt and my epaulets, and they thought I was a pilot.
Oh, there's a 10th class. It's airplane.
Yes, 727s, yes. But no, it was a very hot day. I remember it quite well. And I noticed a lot of the drivers had parked their chairs alongside this trailer like they knew something I did not. I ran towards the end of the day, so I had to wait towards the end of the day, and you had to stay within this one area where they can call you out, and we call it the bullpen. I was fried by the end of the day. The drivers all knew the sun was going to come around. They had done this before at this location. The trailer was shading them. They were in the shade. I was in the sun. Yeah, I was fried by the end of the day.
The heat stroke, I'm sure, didn't really affect your
didn't.
driving ability. No.
But when you perform your rodeos, you go out there and do a whole circuit. You have to make sure that you back up a certain way in between cones and.
It's like an obstacle course.
Yeah.
Roughly.
It's
Not.
precision driving with the obstacles. And there are, let's say if you're going around a turn, they might put, now they use a mascot, it's a rubber duck. So they might put a rubber duck on the ground and an 18-inch marker on the ground. Closest to the duck's bill is 6 inches, that's the 50. You're going to get 50 points. After that 6 inches, everything is 3 inches after that to 18 inches out, and the lowest score is 30. So you need to get within 18 inches of this rubber duck if you're turning to the right or to the left, however which way they set it up. Then there are backing maneuvers where you got to back up to what we call a gate or a barricade, where it's something that they constructed that kind of mimics a loading dock. And it's the same measurements. You have to get within 18 inches. And if you can get within 6 inches of that loading dock, you're going to get the perfect score of 50. 6 problems on the course. And if you ace everything, you're going to get 300 points. And they make it difficult enough that not many people are going to ace it. Not many at all.
So it's not enough just to get through. You have to get through well.
And precision driving. They'll do something called a grease pit. A grease pit, in layman's terms, is what we call it. Grease pit is almost an inspection hole in the ground. So you drive your vehicle, like if you're going to one of the oil change places and you drive your vehicle over it.
Oh, over the
somebody
hole,
goes over the hole and somebody goes underneath, changes your oil. Well, they'll put tennis balls on the asphalt. And you have to drive over the tennis balls and straddle them between your tires. And if you touch one of the tennis balls, it's minus 5 points. Well, there's 10 tennis balls. If you do it without touching them, you get 50 points. So you start out with 50 points, but now you can start losing them when you start touching them. So there's all kinds of obstacles. They make them up as they go sometimes. And nobody gets to see the course until that day.
That's
Till that
because
morning.
you're taking that exam first.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
have to take a written
A
exam.
written exam first?
Yep, we have a written exam, 40 questions, 2 points apiece, so 80 points. The static course is 300 points. And then there's a pre-trip that they do as well, where they plant things wrong on the vehicle, and you have to find them. And they're not easy to find at all. They might take this little pin out of the brake system, and you have to find it. The hard part is you're timed.
Oh, so
So-
it's not just finding it, it's
Run.
run. So do you drive your truck or do you have their truck?
That's a great question, because you're not allowed to drive your own company's vehicle.
That you would
be
really be comfortable with and
That's an unfair advantage.
Oh,
So you don't know what you're going to drive. So after our course walkthrough, and you're marking down everything too, you're trying to visualize your vehicle going through and where you want your truck at what time. You get done walking the course, then you go over to the equipment to see what you're going to be driving. And now they're all automatics. So you don't have to worry about, what type of transmission do I have? What's the clutch going to be like? Is the clutch high or low? Or put it in gear and go. So, but those can be difficult as well. I've driven some where you put it in drive and you have to rev it up to get it to move, almost like a snowmobile. And, you got to rev it up to a certain RPM before it actually moves. Then there was another truck that we had at the Nationals one year. Put it in gear, and it was all concrete floor. You're indoors when you go to the Nationals. You're outdoors at state level. Indoors on a concrete floor, you put it in gear, and it chirped the tires. And I had both feet on the brake because I knew the truck wanted to go. It was like holding back the Budweiser Clydesdales.
whoa, yeah.
It was like holding them back. The truck just wanted, it was horrible to drive in that environment because you're trying to be slow and precise. And I'll be honest with you, when you're watching me drive in a competition, it's like watching paint dry. It's not exciting.
Actually, I disagree with you because I have gone to your state rodeos and
Yep.
I've watched, and it is a little on the exciting side because then you can hear all the other participants on the sidelines, cheering
the
you
play-by-play
on,
or
cheering you
whatever,
on,
yeah.
right? Exactly. And a lot is going on while you're being tested to do your obstacle course. So
And it's my job to block all that out.
yeah,
Block it out and
Yeah.
focus.
I've gone to see you, and I am
And I
very
gotta block
proud
her
of
out.
you. Yeah.
Well, Chris has such a quiet, soft voice
Yes,
that
she does.
you wouldn't get.
Yeah. Quiet.
But it really is difficult to do, is concentrate for that 10 minutes and focus on nothing else. And it really takes practice. So I do practice with a friend of mine, my buddy Richie Sweeney. I practice with him at XPO Logistics in Chicopee. And we should be practicing tomorrow morning on Saturday, but I'm going on vacation. So I'm putting that on
Sorry,
hold.
Richie.
Richie will
got the
probably
morning
be up there
off.
practicing, yeah.
Oh, how wonderful, though.
So
And then you hold your title for a year.
as state champion,
As state
yes.
champion, yeah.
And then there's grand champion.
Oh,
You could actually, in the state of Connecticut, grand champion is the person who scored the highest overall out of all the participants. At the national level, grand champion is the one who beat his class by the most points. So you're going to be separated by the average. So they'll put you in along with, usually it's about 47 drivers in your class. Not all 50 states do all the classes that we do. So if there's 47 in your class, they're going to take the total of the 47 and of all the points combined, divide it up by how many drivers, 47 drivers, and then see if your score has the biggest separation from your class. And then they do that for all 9 classes. And that's how they determine grand champion. So, but the state level, I've been very lucky, very lucky. I've got 18 state championships now. And
I remember your very first national where it was
2012.
broadcast. They live streamed it on
American Trucking Association.
American Trucking
yes.
Association. That's right. And anytime that they went anywhere, it was always every year a new destination for them. So he has taken his family to Minnesota, Florida, Utah. And when my nieces were little, they got to see all these different states and experience different things. So,
it's a true family event.
yeah,
It's
it
not
is a
just
family event.
Heading
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
this is your story, but I am going to disagree. I don't think luck has all that much to do with it. It's a component, but it sounds like there's a lot of preparation and training and focus and luck's a small piece, but I think a lot of it is skill.
You're not going to let me be humble, are you?
No, I'm just saying the facts, man.
It does seem very intricate, you know, I mean, there's so many details that you have to be thinking about, yeah.
I'm bringing we have a book from the American Trucking Association that we read, and that's what the written exam is only on what the contents of that book are. And they'll come up with 40 questions, and a lot of times they mix up what's in there, and you really have to stay focused on that book. The book is a horrible read.
Dry.
Oh, it's tough. It's so tough. Numbers and dates and how many bridges, 630,000 bridges, and it's crazy, all the numbers and dates and political
seen this
things
book,
as well.
And
It's
it comes
not
out,
easy.
you have a new book that you review every year.
Annually,
Yeah.
and it changes annually. So when I go on vacation, it's already packed in my backpack. When I'm on the plane, I read my book. I put on noise canceling headphones and focus on my book, and for 2.5 hours, that's all I'm going to be doing tomorrow morning.
To get it started.
And it'll be boring enough, I'll fall asleep.
I think, personally, I think Roland has taken his job, if you will, as a truck driver and his skills and has brought it to the next level and a higher level that I have never heard of. I've never heard of a trucking rodeo and that you can compete, you know, in Connecticut or Mass or, you know, at the state level. And then if you win there or place, you're invited to a whole conference. And it's really big. It's a like we said before, a huge family environment where, I don't know, where was I going with this? It just, I'm proud.
Taking it to another level.
Yeah, taking it to another level. I never heard of it. I never knew anything about this, and I've been witnessing him doing this for years. And I'm proud of you.
So I think we're also seeing another level of leadership.
Yeah,
I got a theme going here with this.
You got the theme,
with this story
leadership
going
theme,
because as a trainer of truck drivers, you're also providing a role model. And while every truck driver is not going to say, you know, the path to national championship is on my horizon or in front of my windshield,
Good one.
there probably are a few folks who would think, could I do that? And what could this happen? And it's transferable in that perhaps your kids, other people will not be truck drivers, or maybe they will be, but they may seek excellence in whatever field they go into. Because it's possible that
Anything
a
is
guy who
possible.
was a nice kid from Connecticut is a national truck driving championship and a community leader in wonderful East Long Meadow.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Travel Centers of America, because this is another thing that's just so darn cool. So, Jess, I know you're modest, but is there really a travel plaza in Branford, Connecticut, like Roland's place? What? Tell me about it. What is that?
Close.
Ceremony too.
Well, let me back up just a little bit. The truck driving championships, once I got involved, it's opened doorways for me. It really has.
Okay.
It's opened my eyes to the trucking industry, because one of the things in the trucking industry is something called America's Road Team. America's Road Team is a group of professional drivers that get selected. You go through a grilling process. It's amazing what you have to go through. And you get chosen to be on this America's Road Team through industry leaders. So there will be journalists for trucking magazines that are interviewing you, or somebody that owns the entire TA Petro Travel Centers of America. So you never know who's going to be that judge on the panel. But first I was nominated and from a friend of mine named Keith Herzig. And so I applied to be on America's Road Team. I was selected one of 36 drivers that got to fly into Washington, D.C. And I was told, even on the plane, you might have a judge that has your picture in his file. So you need to behave.
It's kind of like the Secret Service. They're watching,
So, of course, I was behaving the whole time.
as you would anyway.
Yes, yes. Try to be a gentleman, try to help everybody. And took a little prop plane all the way down to D.C. and got to see the American Trucking Association's headquarters, very impressive, and got to meet the other 35 applicants and, get ready. We're going to go out for pizza later on. And I said, pizza? Handling a greasy pizza, grabbing it with your hands. I said, I'm going to use a fork and knife, and I'm going to bring these little chiclets that are in a little FedEx Express box and hand them out. And I did that. And I would ask people, did you get your package delivered to you on time today? And give them little chiclets. So now I'm eating my pizza nice and neat and clean, trying to do the best thing. They're eating pizza with their hands and little things that you try,
right.
And then they're chewing the gum and, okay, great. It's something to hand out, something to be remembered by. And then you do speeches. The next day. They want to see how you're going to talk in front of people. And I'm coming from a disc jockey background. I don't have a problem in front of microphones or people. So that part was easy. And in my speech, I didn't talk about trucking. I talked about fishing. And I talked about this boat that I was working on in my driveway. It took me a long time to fix this boat, prepare this boat, put it in the water. I finally put it in the water. The water was like glass. It was an early September morning. And there was a little bit of fog on the water. I was just describing the water, how common. It was like glass. Put my little boat in the water, a little trolling motor, and I finally catch a fish later on, and I go to grab the net, put the net underneath the fish, and right then the fish spit the hook. Thank God I had my net. So I put the fishing rod down, I pick up the net, and the fish was gone. There was a hole in the bottom of the net. If I only would have done a pre-trip. Which is what we should be doing with our vehicles every single morning. So I think they liked it. I got on the team. It's one of the best experiences ever as a professional truck driver. So I was on a team in 2000, lasted in 2002 because it was a 2-year experience at the time. I think it is still 2 years. And this past year, they elected 24. At the time, they elected 12. They elected 24 road team captains this past year, and phenomenal people, salt of the earth, and very knowledgeable within the trucking industry. And having a safe driving record is always important, always important. Right now, I'm at 2.6 million safe driving miles, and there's some drivers here that have 4 and 5 million safe driving miles.
Wow.
So that kind of opened your eyes to the trucking industry. And through America's Road Team, they hooked me up with Bose Corporation. They were putting together a truck seat for truck drivers that eliminated all vibration, just like there are noise-canceling headphones eliminates vibration, which is sound. They were doing the same thing with a seat. So that got me involved with Bose Corporation. So I was going there every now and then and couldn't talk about it. It was top secret. Had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. It was awesome.
I told you, this is like the Secret Service.
It was awesome walking through the gates and of Bose through the doors of the research department. And we go out in the warehouse and there's this blacked out fence. And the engineer is waving his card to get me in. And there's other employees that don't know what's going on inside that blacked out fence. So it was pretty neat, being in that position. But see what this is involving? It's getting my eyes opened up to more and more things. To this day, I still have a Bose ride in my truck. And that's what I use every single day driving in my FedEx truck. And it eliminates all vibration. So you feel better at the end of the week. So that was another thing. And I was also involved with my friend Keith Herzig. He worked for FedEx Ground at the time. And he got me involved in Make-A-Wish, and he started, and I was right there with him from the ground up. He started something called the Wishes on Wheels Convoy for Make-A-Wish. It's still going on to this day. And I think last year it was over 600. Year before, 650 trucks. Just tractors, no trailers. Because if you put on trailers, we'd clog up Connecticut. Because you go slow, and the Make-A-Wish children get to ride in the vehicle of their choice. So
It's a big convoy, yeah.
all the Make-A-Wish kids are invited to ride in the vehicles, and there's gorgeous vehicles that show up. And makes my mouth drop. And, some of the kids choose that vehicle, and they're pulling the air horn, having a great time, and it eliminates, how should I say, their anxiety over what they have going on in their life. And it just made it so well worth it. So I was vice president of that for 13 years. My brother, Keith Herzig, my friend Keith Herzig, was president for 13 years. When he stepped down, I stepped down. We transferred it over to someone else, and it's still going strong to this day. It'll happen probably the second Sunday in September, and it happens in Connecticut at Rentschler Field now. And they're raising money for a great cause, Make-A-Wish. And we love Make-A-Wish. And at the same time, there was a truck competition for St. Jude's. So not just the state competition, which is the second Saturday of June, this would happen in September. So it gave me another avenue to practice and meet up with more drivers and donate and raise money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis. So we did that many years. Enjoyed winning that competition. That was something because you got drivers from Maine, and we had Ohio showed up, West Virginia came up. The whole Northeast would show up for this competition. It was just wonderful to see that, and all donating for St. Jude's. So
Another great cause.
So this thing you're talking about, Travel Centers of America.
Circle back.
And we circled back, which is okay. That's
We
good.
made a U-turn with the truck.
I've been waiting and waiting for you to say something like, come on.
We made a U-turn with the truck. We're back to Travel Centers of America. You can't apply for that. Somebody has to nominate you. And I was lucky enough, I had 3 different people nominate me to be the citizen driver of that year. And in 2018, I was selected. And once you're nominated, the promoters will give you a call and say, you've been nominated. And by the way, you've been nominated by 3 different people. This isn't a popularity contest, I was told. So I said, I can't help that.
Yeah, you didn't
I
know.
can't help that. So the Motor Transport Association of Connecticut nominated me with a couple others, and it was awesome to have that. And I was contacted, given the information that what I've done in my community. That was part of the criteria. You have to be involved in your community. You have to have a safe driving record, and anything else would help. And the Truck Driving Championships really played an important role into it. And that was 2018 when I was selected as a citizen driver honoree, is what they call it, for TA, Travel Centers of America. TA Petro is their company. And you get to select out of all the travel plazas that don't have a name on them. Well, a friend of mine actually has his name on the one in Willington, Connecticut, next to FedEx Ground, where we originated the the Wishes on Wheels convoy. Well, at the time, I was down in New Haven making deliveries, and there's one in Branford, Connecticut. I was taking lunch there daily. And I was like, that would be pretty neat. And I got it. And they actually flew us out to Chicago, my wife and I, and we visited in Chicago. The promoters brought us around. They were wonderful, just showing us everywhere around in Chicago. We did this great tour of speedboats out on the lake and through the channels, and you name it, we saw it, and Navy Pier on the Ferris wheel, and the oldest steakhouse. Everything was just great. Then from there, we had to drive to Iowa. It's a 4-hour ride. And she said, if you don't mind, I said, I drive for a living. That's 4 hours is nothing. So we go for a ride, and I said, it's in Iowa, huh? I said, is it going through LeClaire, Iowa? He goes, as a matter of fact, we are. So my wife is a huge fan of antique the American Pickers. Their shop is in LeClaire. He goes, oh yeah, we can stop by there. I said, don't tell my wife. We're going to stop in. We stopped in and surprised her. It was like the highlight of the trip for her. It was awesome. For me to see it for her was the highlight of seeing her that excited and being touring while we're in there. And while we're in there, just about everything in there says Springfield, Massachusetts. It was so cool.
Like, for instance, give me a
There's
for
Indian
instance.
motorcycles.
Of course,
That's
yeah.
of course number one. But there are all
Yeah.
these other companies. And while at our Lions Club meeting this past Wednesday, one of the guys was telling me that Springfield was the capital of firsts,
City of Firsts.
city of firsts. So that played into antique archaeology with the American Pickers. And that's what's in their shop. A lot of things from Springfield.
I didn't know that.
And so many things that we were talking about on Wednesday. I can't remember a darn one of them right now.
That's okay though. And how exciting for your wife, because how many times in your life are you truly surprised? Like you have no clue it's going to happen, and then it happens. So you get extra points for that.
The day I gave her engagement ring, yes.
She had no clue. You surprised her.
I don't think she had a clue.
I know I didn't. I didn't. I wasn't in attendance at that time.
Yeah, you were.
I did
We were
not.
on Whitewater Rafting.
Wasn't there
Oh,
that
you
time.
didn't go that time. Oh, anyways, let's get back on track. So there was a ceremony for the Citizen Driver Award, and it was at the I-80 Travel Plaza, and it's the largest travel plaza in America. And they did it there amongst a museum of all old trucks and just a trucking museum. And it was amazing to see it all and get a tour of it and then be honored up on stage, and they give you a nice plaque, and then, we'll see you back in your home state.
And that's when he comes home and says, "You want to see my trophy?"
Yeah.
And he's got a lineup of
See my
trophies for
trophy?
sure.
I got a trophy.
Yeah.
So then they said, well, we're going to honor you by having a party at the travel center, and we're going to have a banner up, and we're going to drop the banner so that you can see your name, an unveiling of your name on the travel plaza.
Nice.
And I said, that is awesome, but if it says Ronald, my wife and I are going to get in our car and drive away off into the sunset. And she guaranteed me there's no way it'll say Ronald, and it did not. She did a wonderful
That must be
job.
the default misspelling or.
On my name, most certainly, because it's the same letters, but just jumbled up. So I get called it a lot. I get it in print a lot. You guys got it all straight. Roland is perfect for me. So then
Thank
we went.
heavens. It would have been a very short podcast. If
So then we went back down to the travel plaza. They said, you can have a party of 30 people. And I said, that's difficult. I have 48 people in my immediate family. And that doesn't include the people who got me here within the trucking industry. And the promoter told me, do what you got to do. And it was fun because I had 90 people there. And a country singer was in Iowa. Her name is Lindsay Lawler, with their guitarist Chris. They also showed up in Connecticut.
Oh.
And they play for you at your unveiling. And at the time, I had my 6-month-old grandson on my lap, and they're playing not far in front of me. She's singing on the mic, and he's playing guitar. And I've got him on my lap, and my leg's getting warm. I'm going, well, he's barefoot. We're good. And we keep watching, and I said, boy, my leg's really getting warm. I said, he's got a diaper. Yeah, he's got a diaper on. Yeah, this is too warm. I look, yeah, it's all over my leg. He had too good of a time. So I handed him off, and as soon as the song was done, the guitarist said, did your grandson just pee on your leg? I said, he christened the travel plaza. Yes, he did. And now he's 6.5 years old. So
Time flies.
time flies, truly.
And that might be our watchword right now, but we have a couple minutes. Do you have any call to action, any final words, any offerings to your many listeners here?
We've touched base on so many things. Always with the trucking industry, we can always use more professional truck drivers. We can always use more drivers in the trucking industry and in our competitions. Our competitions are not that difficult. Once you get involved, you get hooked. Anybody who's ever tried it has gotten hooked, and they enjoy it. And going to the nationals is a lot of fun. Winning it is more fun, but going is a lot of fun. And but besides that, we first talked about the Lions. The Lions Club can always use more members. We love that creativity that each and every person brings to the Lions Club. We have amazing Lions that have been there a long time, some a short time, and they're the ones putting these things together, like that holiday weekend that we spoke about, and all the creativity of the poker run. Bob Adams, our treasurer, Scott Grabowski, our secretary, just some of the fantastic people within the Lions. Bob Adams is the lead for our fishing derby. If you see the fishing derby or go anywhere near it, you're going to see how well done it is, and it all is through him. He's such a great volunteer with what he does. And which is everybody. Chris is also a Lion. My sister-in-law, my wife, her husband as well, is also a Lion, Bill. And just great people, salt of the earth. We can use more salt of the earth. I would love to grow the numbers within our Lions organization.
And a wonderful contribution to our wonderful town.
Yes.
They could be part of this and reap the rewards and feel the good feelings of
Yep.
contributing, not just living here, but joining our community.
And I'm always away at the Nationals, are always busy during the Picnic for the Blind. But I heard that as the most rewarding out of all the things that we do. And I've yet to make it. I keep trying my best to make it, but I'm away at the Nationals or some other competition, or because the Nationals happens around in August, usually around the time of the picnic. So, but I'll make it. I'll make it one of these times. King Lion's got to be there.
Thank you so much for coming with
Thank
us
you.
today. And I hope you can share this podcast with others, and we'll see if we can't have a few more folks join in, many more folks. We have 16,000 residents of East Long Meadow. There's probably a few more that could hop in.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. We got great people in this town. I love this town. I'd do anything to support this town.
So, Roland, if somebody wanted to get more information about joining the Lions Club, how would they do that?
Well, East Long Meadow, ellions.org is our website.
Okay.
And also on Facebook, just look up East Long Meadow Lions Club. We have a Facebook page, and they've been posting about the fishing derby. I can say right now it's a success. I know this will be aired afterwards, but yes, we had a successful fishing derby. They're going to catch close to 200 fish, and we gave away some fantastic prizes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. That wraps up another episode of Stories from the View. We'd like to thank Roland, Bolduc, and Chris Buffington, who also sat in with us today. The Stories from the View podcast, it's available on the LCAT 01028 channel on YouTube and on Spotify. If you have a story you'd like to share on the program, contact Pleasant View Senior Center Director Aaron Kobler by stopping by the Pleasant View Senior Center, by calling Aaron at 413-525-5436, extension 1401, or you can send Aaron an email, aaron.kobler@eastlongmeadowma.gov. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Stories from the View.